The first video that I made for this channel was about how I think that a lot of film festivals and distribution companies take advantage of filmmakers and can act kind of scammy. But I didn't want to give the impression that all festivals are bad or that it's not ever worth it to play your movie at them. I've had some fantastic experiences at festivals over the years, and when a festival is good, it can be great. So I wanted to make a video offering a view of the other side of the coin and talk about some of my favorite film festivals and what my experience has been at them. Also, I'm fostering a 3-month-old kitten, so if you see a small creature dart around in the back, you know what it is. Here he is. His name is Truffle Fries. Mwah. Like many things in the film industry, your experience at a film festival is going to totally depend on what things you want to get out of it. Do you want to try to sell your film? Do you want to get your movie in front of as many audience members as possible? Do you want press coverage and reviews? Or do you just want to go to wild parties and drink tons of free alcohol? All of those things are possible. So figuring out what you want to get out of your festival run is going to help you narrow down which kinds of festivals to submit to and hopefully eventually participate in. Over the years of playing my movies at film festivals, the thing that I've personally landed on as being the most important factor when I consider a festival is this. Is it a place that I want to visit? Now, I know that this may not seem like the most exciting criteria, but at the end of the day, that's really the only thing that you have control over. Flying out to some random-ass city, you have no idea what kind of audience you're gonna have. Sure, it could be sold out, but more than likely, it'll probably be pretty sparsely attended. And you also have no idea if there's gonna be any other filmmakers there that you could possibly hang out with. The only thing that you do know is it a city that you wanna hang out in for 1 to 3 days? Have you never been there before? Are there good restaurants to try? Is there a cool museum that you want to visit? If you think that it really doesn't seem like a city that you would want to potentially wander around in by yourself for a couple of days, then you might want to think twice about going there to screen your film. Because how are you going to feel if you go there strictly for the festival and only 4 people show up for your screening? Or there's no events or parties surrounding the festival? Or there aren't any fellow filmmakers there for you to connect with? You're gonna just wind up watching reruns of Friends in your crappy hotel room by yourself, which you can just as easily do at home for free. I feel bad because I feel like when I delve into the reality of festivals in my videos, it starts to sound kind of bleak. Because the thing is, I actually really like going to these small, bizarre towns and wandering around alone. I flew out to some festival in the Pacific Northwest a number of years ago. I don't even remember which one it was at this point. And the festival ended up kind of sucking. My screening was a total dud, and the only event for the festival was a 30-minute reception happy hour in the very small lobby of an old church with very bad wine. But the festival was in this really small, strange town that I would have never visited in a million years. And I had fun just wandering around, going to little shops, eating dinner in a casino next to my hotel, and going to this super weird flea market where I got this portrait taken. So even if the festival sucks, it can still be worth it. So let's talk about some festivals that don't suck and what my experience has been at them. RiverRun is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which I had never visited and would maybe never have gone to if it weren't for the festival. But it's a funky, small town that I've really grown to love. Everybody that works at the festival is incredibly enthusiastic about film. And every time that I've gone, I've gotten a ride from the airport from a volunteer who's always literally one of the nicest people that I've ever met, and inevitably has an amazing, deep Southern accent. A lot of the screenings take place at the Aperture Cinema, which is one of those great little independent theaters that's literally keeping independent cinema alive. There's a handful of gems like this in the country, and it's an amazing place to screen your film. The audiences are always really great, and I've always had good Q&As, which is not something that you can always say at film festivals. Plus, the University of North Carolina School of the Arts that's nearby has an awesome film school, so there's always a good amount of film students that are involved in the festival and that come to the screenings. Also worth mentioning, the bags of swag that they give you are actually really impressive. These bags that you get from festivals usually suck. It's often just a bunch of brochures for local businesses that you couldn't care less about. but RiverRuns always have stuff like delicious local cookies, mini bottles of alcohol, small pieces of original local art, and I got a pair of socks from there that I've been wearing consistently for like 7 years. Not that you should go to film festivals to get free socks, but not that you should not go to festivals to get free socks. The Lone Star and Hill Country Film Festivals are both in Texas, and they're both run by the same programmers, so I'm gonna group them together. Also because they're both awesome. I went to the Hill Country Festival first, I think, and I really, really loved it. It's in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is aptly enough in the Hill Country, right outside of Austin. It's a fun little town that apparently is the second biggest wine region in the country. So there's tons of wineries and tasting rooms and good restaurants as well. I'm probably gonna keep referring to towns as funky, but Fredericksburg really is. It's like you take small town Texas and infuse cosmopolitan antique dealers and cafes. It's also near Lyndon Johnson's home and museum, which, as a big fan of the LBJ Robert Caro book series, is huge for me. But they also program awesome movies and do a great job of having events and parties. And they also do what I think is crucially important for festivals. They have lots of filmmakers there at the same time. I think this is important because you can meet other filmmakers, build friendships, and follow each other's work going forward. I've met people at both of these film festivals that I still talk to on a regular basis. Their other festival, Lone Star, is in the city of Fort Worth, which is a much bigger city and also has plenty of stuff to do. When I went to Lone Star, I visited a few museums, I had a beer at Billy Bob's, which is apparently the world's largest honky-tonk, and I ate some really incredible food. A lot of the screenings are at the Modern, which is an amazing art museum that has an incredible state-of-the-art cinema. New York City has so many film festivals which run the gamut from Tribeca all the way down to, I don't know, the Williamsburg Pasta Film Festival or something. And the vast majority of them are bad. New York has probably the highest concentration of scammy film festivals in the entire country. That's why the Lower East Side Film Festival is such a breath of fresh air. I've played there a few times and I've always had sold out screenings. And any film festival where you have a sold out screening is worth your time and submission fee. The people that run the festival understand what filmmakers actually want. Big audiences, press and reviews of the film, and parties that are actually fun and where all the filmmakers are in attendance. These are the actual tangible benefits that can make a festival worthwhile, and Lower East Side works hard to provide them. This is also the festival that led me to selling my second movie, What Children Do. They've got relationships with people in the industry and actually try to help you after the festival ends, as opposed to just falling off the face of the earth and then forgetting to mail your DCP back to you, which is what happens with most film festivals. I've played Woodstock twice now, and when I said earlier about making sure that a festival is somewhere that you'd want to actually visit, this is sort of the perfect case example. The festival takes place in the Hudson Valley during the fall, so it's literally one of the most beautiful places that you can visit. Woodstock programs awesome movies, so even if gorgeous foliage is not your thing, then you could just spend all day going around watching cool movies. And as a side note, you definitely should. When you play a film festival, you almost always get a filmmaker badge, which allows you to see any film you want. Take advantage of this because a lot of the movies that are playing at the festival probably won't end up getting distribution, so this may be literally your only chance to see it. Woodstock also has really cool events surrounding the festival, where you can interact with other filmmakers who are almost always in attendance. And the festival is a really big deal in town, with lots of local residents coming out to the screenings and parties. I'm maybe a little bit biased because I love the town of Woodstock so much. I even shot my second feature film there. But this is always high on my list of favorite festivals to attend. Speaking of biased, I'm from Minneapolis, so I've got a soft spot in my heart for this festival. And it's a huge film festival. It takes place over 2 weeks, and they program over 100 films. Plus, they have a huge focus on international cinema. So you can put that filmmaker badge to good use and go see a ton of cool movies that you maybe wouldn't see otherwise. Since the festival is spread out over 2 weeks, It's not quite so event-focused. So you might not be there at the same time as a huge group of other filmmakers. But they're in their 42nd year, so it's one of the most established, consistent American film festivals. So there's a good chance that you'll get reviews and maybe some press. And Minneapolis is an amazing city, so this is just a great excuse to go visit. I've played Eastern Oregon twice, although I've unfortunately never actually attended in person. But every year they consistently program work by my favorite filmmakers, with an eye on supporting micro-budget, truly independent work. Many festivals are hyper-focused on programming big, flashy Hollywood movies with stars, while smaller, less established filmmakers are often just an afterthought. But the Eastern Oregon programmers don't just copy and paste the programs from Sundance or South by Southwest, which is what so many unadventurous regional festivals do. I need to keep making movies so that I can hopefully get to attend this festival someday in person. To close out my list, I want to shout out one of my favorite festivals, which is also one of the smaller festivals around. Free Range is a festival in rural Minnesota that only plays a couple movies every year, and they hold their screenings in a barn on a farm. But it's the polar opposite of the joyless, impersonal experience of so many other festivals. It's run by kind, enthusiastic film lovers who only choose movies that they're actually excited about. And the one time I was lucky enough to attend, the entire thing felt like a handcrafted, personal, and intimate event. Watching your movie in a beautiful old barn full of film lovers is a totally unique experience that you're not going to find literally anywhere else. I think it's festivals like this that are going to be a big part of the future for independent filmmakers. A lot of programmers copy and paste films from higher tier festivals, throw them in a local Cineplex, put up a step and repeat, and then call it a film festival. But this is what a screening should really be. Sharing your work with an audience in a unique venue and having impactful face-to-face interactions with people. In my own anecdotal experience at film festivals, the bigger the festival, the less gratifying the experience is. So if you're a small, unsplashy movie with no marketing budget and no famous people in attendance, then it's all too easy to completely fall between the cracks. So even if you do get into a bigger festival, there's a good chance that you'll have a screening that kind of sucks. You probably won't get any press, and you'll be totally ignored by the programmers. Yeah, sure, okay, you can stack laurels on your poster until the cows come home. And there are prestige festivals where when you tell people, oh, I premiered at the Tree Dance Film Festival or whatever, a handful of filmmakers will be momentarily impressed, but not for any actual reason, but just because that festival makes it onto one of the ubiquitous top 25 best film festival lists. But having made and released 3 feature films now, I can tell you that amassing these ostensibly impressive but personally unsatisfying festival laurels only has so much mileage. The novelty wears off pretty quickly. So I think that you would be much better off seeking out smaller, more intimate festivals that are run by passionate film lovers, where you'll have an actually great screening with an audience who is excited about your film. You can visit a cool town you've maybe never even heard of, maybe be on a panel, build relationships with programmers that actually give a shit about you, and slowly build a group of people who are excited about your work. This will be so much more gratifying than amassing meaningless laurels that don't contribute anything to your movie's success, or more importantly, to your happiness. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video somewhat helpful. Let me know down in the comments what some of your favorite film festivals are, and I'll see you in the next video.